For those of you who've not met me before, my name's River, and I'm speaking to you here from Brighton on the south coast. I know that many people who join us for these broadcasts are actually members of the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. I know also that some people who come to the School of Celebrancy broadcasts and indeed courses and take an interest in this page are not from within the Druid community. So I thought I would start by kind of introducing this subject, inspiration from nature, by just saying a little bit about what that means to us in the Druid world. You know, how we work with the natural world, and kind of what modern Druidry is about. I'm obviously not going to go into this in great depth, but just what I would like to say is that although we don't have a continuous unbroken handing on of tradition here in the British Isles that goes all the way back to whoever built the ancient monuments in our landscape that are lined up to different solar and lunar and astronomical events. We do know that we are working with those same raw materials and those same natural events and cycles that inspired those ancestors who built those places. And what unites us as modern Druids from many different countries, as we can see in this discussion, from many different parts of the world, and also from many different kinds of background, and I would say even of many different kinds of spiritual paths, because within the Druid community we have Buddhists, we have Christians of different persuasions. In fact, we've had several Christian ministers on our School of Celebrancy courses, and we have of course people who would identify themselves more strongly as pagans, and perhaps take more of a shamanic approach to things, but there's no dogma, but what unites us all is our love of nature, and our feeling of a deep connection with the natural world, and a feeling of wanting to, I think, what unites us all is a feeling of wanting to really nurture and strengthen and be open to that connection, to reach out to nature, and indeed to open ourselves up to nature when it reaches out to us. So the one of us here, and I'm very, very sorry, please accept my apologies, your name has flown out of my mind already, but one of us here in this discussion was present recently at a workshop that I did for the Celebrants Collective on this very subject, and we were talking about this same issue of how we can, or the same subject of how we can really invite this magic and inspiration from the natural world into our ceremonies, particularly for weddings and vow renewals and handfasting ceremonies, which is just if anyone in this discussion is wondering what a handfasting is, it's just simply a ceremony, a partnership ceremony, or a relationship celebration ceremony, during which the couple's hands are symbolically tied together. And I wanted particularly to speak this evening about working with the spirit of place and what that means to us, and also to speak with Desiree, who I'm going to bring in, Desi, from the Netherlands in a moment, who is a celebrant who studied with us at School of Celebrancy and has been doing some beautiful, intimate, outdoor ceremonies in the Netherlands where she lives. And Desi and I have co-created a little ebook called Inspiration from Nature that is all about bringing in this inspiration for couples who are working on creating their vows for their ceremonies. So yeah, I am going to hopefully bring Desiree in now, and she can tell us a little bit. Okay, Desi, if you are with me, I cannot see a request. Oh, there we go. I can see the request. Here we go. I'm going to bring Desi in, and we're going to have a chat about some of the work that we've been doing recently. I think that Facebook is adding you to this discussion. Desi, it's telling me the next thing. Here we go. Hooray. Great to see you.
I'm turning my phone, so I'm a little bit moving.
Okay, just propping it up on something. Fabulous.
Yes. Okay.
So, thank you for joining us, Desi.
Yes, it's nice to be here with you tonight, with everybody.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it, to feel that we're part of this big discussion, you know, that's reaching so many in different parts of the world. So yes, working with the inspiration of nature, Desi, can I ask you to just tell us about the last, you said we had a little preparation yesterday and you said you'd done 2 very different ceremonies in 2 different places. So would you like to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, I had 2 weeks ago on the Saturday a very nice handfasting ceremony, and with only the couple in the forest in a circle of peach trees.
Yes.
Yes. And it's a very beautiful place with meadows surrounded, and it was full of flowers. It was in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the couple was very, very connected. Yeah, with the ceremony, with nature. It was magical.
And had you worked with them? Had you been to the place with them before as part of your preparations for the ceremony?
And not with the couple. I sent them some pictures. But I went for myself a few days before the ceremony to connect with the place, to ask permission.
Yeah.
And yes, had a quiet moment with that place, and it felt so good. And the couple also trusted it. They saw the pictures and knew it was okay.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about that. You went to ask permission, and when you go to ask permission of the place, yes. So are you? Would that be asking permission from the spirit of the place?
Yeah.
And
when I come to the place, first I look around the trees and the ground, and then I feel with my hands on the ground, and then I connect. I connect with the spirits of the place, and I connected with the trees, the circle of trees, and they felt very wise. They were big, live a long life already there. And it's a special quiet time when I do that.
Okay, Desiree, I'm just noticing on the chat that a lot of people are saying that they have got some echo going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can do anything about that. Um, is there anybody that's not getting the echo? Okay, well let's do our best to carry on and hope that we can have some reasonable sound quality. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably because we both have the mic open, and somebody else is just saying that they can only see the neck and a top of a head. Oh dear, so we will be having a few technical issues this evening. Can anyone see our faces, or is this happening? Oh, no picture, only sound, and the picture was freezing before Desi came in anyway. Oh, right, I'm okay. Nico's saying the image is good. Jan's saying no. Nico can see us both. Diana can see us both. Okay, so some people can see us. And some people have sound okay. So let's just persevere. I'm really sorry to those of you who are having problems with seeing our faces, and also very sorry to hear that people are having problems with the sound, but I'm afraid that I haven't got an external mic that I can use at the moment. I don't know if you have, Desi, if you've got a different mic.
Look around me. Otherwise, I could use ears, but I don't have them.
Yeah, I don't have one either. I should be prepared next time. Sorry, tech is not the strong point, but let's persevere and do our best. So you were saying that about how you greeted the spirit of place, and I just want to ask you, yeah, what spirit of place means to you. Is it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When I connect with nature, with the place, it's like it's talking to me.
Yeah.
I feel the energy, and I feel the kindness.
Yeah.
And for me, it was also special because I found a feather of a bird,
Yeah.
a buzzard.
A buzzard. Yeah.
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 And for me, that was the yes,
Yeah.
okay of the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's often the way, isn't it? That when you are consciously seeking to connect with the place, it can be anything or any person can speak for or feel like a representative of the spirit of place. I was just listening to, I was catching up with some old episodes of the Druidcast podcast today, actually, and I was listening to Dave interviewing an order member, Adrian, lovely Adrian from Bristol, and they were talking at Stanton Stone Circle, where Adrian has been conducting ceremonies for many years, and he was talking about one day when he had they just the Dabuni Grove had just conducted a ceremony in this place, and as they were leaving the circle, an old lady from nearby just greeted him and said, oh, I just want to tell you, I've lived around here for many years, and I think the stones have been waiting for you folk to come and wake them up, and I think you've done it. And he didn't get the impression that she was in any way involved in druidry or paganism or anything like that, but just in that moment, she seemed to be speaking for the spirit of place. And
Wow.
yeah, and I'm just thinking about. Yeah, often for me it will be a bird often, or a creature that seems to sort of come close at a significant moment, or a bird that's singing, or sometimes there'll be a change in the weather, or perhaps a dropping of the wind, or the sun coming out at an appropriate moment in a ceremony, or a preparation for a ceremony that kind of brings that sense of connection.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you talked about the circle of beech trees, and I'm wondering, is it a place that was created particularly for ceremony, or a place that you found that just felt like a good place to?
Yes, I found it by during a day walk. I went for a walk and I went through the whole forest. Then I came to this place and I knew this is a place for a couple.
Right.
Place, yeah, special energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it felt like that the place was sort of welcoming of
Yeah.
you would do there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And were the couple that you were doing the ceremony for, are they followers of any particular path? Are they Druid or pagan or anything like that?
Yeah. Not particularly, but they have a strong connection with nature. They are, when they can, are in nature and collecting wild flowers and for food and
Okay. Yeah, what we call foraging.
yes, that's
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, they strongly connect with nature, and yeah, for them it was also special. So yeah.
Mm. And so in your preparation, in your actual conducting of that ceremony, were there particular parts of the ceremony where you're inviting the place to be present in a particular way, or inviting the couple to connect with the place in particular ways?
Yes, I welcome and greet the corners, the elements, and ask the guides for help. And yeah, we connected with the three of us with the place with the three breaths.
Yes.
A breath sky, a breath from earth down below, and a breath around us. And that was the real start of the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that can be just such a very simple and beautiful way to just invite people. And I think even if that's the only thing that you might add to a more secular kind of outdoor ceremony, I think that can bring quite an amazing extra to a ceremony. Just that stopping and sharing a breath, and just inviting everyone present to be present together, and to pay attention to everything else that's present in that place in that moment also. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And so the one ceremony that you did in the it was a hand fasting ceremony, yeah. And you mentioned a second ceremony that you conducted recently too.
Yeah, this was also a very special day. It was in the north of Holland, a place called Wormen, surrounded by water. And first we went by boat to a very small little island, and the owner and his friends and owners of the island, I did with them the hand fasting. With a small group of family members.
Yeah.
And it was so special to be surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the little islands that I gave extra attention and special greeting and thanks to the island that we were that it was so welcoming us, and it was such a beautiful place to do the ceremony with the couple. It was such a beautiful connection with the couple. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, this sense of actually greeting the place intentionally. Yeah, that is that something that you do out loud in the ceremony, like when it was a more public one like this with the other people present? Yeah.
It depends of the ceremony, but this one I did it out loud with everybody.
Yeah.
Because people were familiar with the islands. It were all relatives. They went there. They were there before, so it felt appropriate.
Yeah. So it's a special place to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for them, I guess, you know, even if they don't have particular pagan beliefs or anything, that intuitively the idea of greeting the place kind of makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they loved it. It felt very good for them. They told me.
Mm, wonderful. And were there any particular kind of signs, moments in these ceremonies where you could feel the place responding, or or
Yeah, I felt it from the wind.
yeah.
We were also surrounded by trees.
Mm,
Yeah, the wind was carrying us
mm,
during the ceremony.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Great.
that's a feeling. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, yeah. It is quite hard to explain the sort of magical feelings that you get during the ceremony, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just thinking now about so just today I have been conducting a vowel writing ceremony, and it was just in a garden in a small town called Hailsham in the southeast here in Sussex. Um, um, and it was for a couple who neither of whom well, actually one of the couple has quite an interest in I suppose you know, spiritual things, she would say, and both of them have a great love of nature, um, and both of them really love their garden, and they have some very special plants in there, particularly some roses that are share the name of the groom to be's mother, who's passed away. So they are one of the ways that she feels really present with them in the garden. And we were doing the ceremony out of which you've created the ebook. So I spoke about this ceremony during the Celebrating Life course. And yeah, how we do this vow writing ceremony is just as you say, inviting the inspiration from the directions and the elements.
Yeah.
And I've had a few experiences lately of doing that with people who've never really done that before. And yeah, it's something that I always do at the actual location where the ceremony is going to take place. So I do just as you do, just ask for the blessings of the place on the ceremony and explain, you know, that we want to have a celebration of love in that place and really welcome all the blessings and inspiration that can come from that place. And I also always express the intention that just as we are inviting the blessings of the place on this celebration of love, we really hope that this celebration of love can be felt as a blessing for the place as well.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it actually, when you were talking about the place that you stumbled across with the beech trees, some places seem to sort of really attract and welcome us as humans to connect with them, and you know, feel very open to yeah,
Yeah.
sort of offering that extra magic to the proceedings. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, what we do with the vow writing ceremony is we turn to each of the directions, and when I facilitate it for a couple, we first stand together and share 3 breaths, just as we've described, a breath with the earth beneath us and the sky above, and often a breath with the ocean surrounding our island, with every living being around us. And I explain what we're there to do. And then I invite the couple to turn and face the east. And I'll talk then about what the east means to me in that moment, and what it means to all of us, you know, in Druidry, how we relate to it as the direction of dawn and of new beginnings, and invite people to be conscious of the feelings of the air, any breeze that's blowing, to be conscious of any flying things that they can see. And there's always seems to be lots of bird song at that moment. Talk about how that sound of the bird song is coming to us through the air, and that's why air is associated with communication. And then usually you know, with each couple that I work with, it will be slightly different, you know, what I'll then go on to say, because it's informed by and inspired by my journey with them. But then just having really when we've got to a point where we feel like that connection is really open, I'll then invite them just to, in that moment, write down whatever comes to mind that they want to promise to their partner, you know, with that inspiration present. And I can say I've had really lovely feedback from the last 3 couples that I've done this with in the last few weeks. And I have to say, especially from the guys, because it's usually the male partner more often, in my experience, would be the one who's going out of their comfort zone more when we do this kind of thing. And we've got a few questions here that I'll pick up with in a minute. But yeah, I had that very specific feedback today of the groom to be saying, that's really not something that I would normally ever do, but actually it felt great. And yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, and the last couple that when we've completed this process, you know, it's a choice for the couple whether they want to, you know, so a few have chosen to share straight away with me as witness, you know, what they've written, and we've worked together to see how that's going to shape up into the vows they make in the ceremony. Others decide to take it away and look at it together and share it together and then feed something back to me. The couple that I worked with today decided that they'd each take what they written and keep it to themselves and not share it together, but pass it on to me, you know, when they've had time to reflect on it. And again, I'll kind of feed it back to them in and to take to become their vows in the form of questions. So yeah, Nico's asking the question, are the people or couples that approach you for a ceremony usually pagan? And I would say for me, no, because I advertise myself as a celebrant, you know, open to all. Obviously there are clues, you know, in and signals, you know, in my website. I talk about, you know, my love of working with nature. I talk about my involvement of Druidry, you know, if people go onto my About Me page. But no, most people that come to me are not pagan, but they are people with a love of nature, and perhaps they might be druid curious a bit, you know, or open to having learning a bit more about that connection. How about you, Desi?
I recognize that druid curiosity, but the couples I handfasted, I think 50-50. There's 50% pagan and 50% not. But everybody has a deeper connection with nature, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I see that Geert's asking, do you give other offerings for the spirit of place? So I've just, do we give offerings to the spirits of place other than intention, like such as flowers, stones? How about you, Desi?
Not particularly, but I always greet and say bye with my hands on the ground and make a connection with energy.
Yeah.
For me, that is my offering, that I'm thankful, and I say thank you for your blessings and that we are here.
Yeah. I do sometimes give an offering when I'm doing my own work. Just, you know, sometimes, you know, to in the form of, you know, it might be anything that I'm eating or drinking, you know, sharing with the place. When I do this, and sometimes I suggest to a couple that they might like to give some kind of offering if it makes sense for them. But really, in my heart of hearts, I feel that the most important offering that we give to the spirit of place is our full attention. And that when we are, it's like being a really polite guest, I suppose, isn't it? When you just are going in with that attitude of a polite guest, in fact, of being really full of gratitude for the beautiful place that you're being welcomed into, and really full of attention and gratitude for all of the lovely things that are there. And so I really feel that it's, when Geert's asking, do we give offerings other than intention, I think attention, it's like that loving, respectful attention. And actually sometimes when we give a kind of symbolic offering, like it might be a, you know, I've seen offerings given in the form of honey or mead or bread or you know, whatever it is that we might give. Really, those things are a symbol of the attention that we're giving.
Yeah, for me, is it also important when a ceremony ends to bring back the place to it was before we went there. So we made a circle and then we uncircle it, also on the ground.
Yeah.
So the energy of the place is giving back the forest, and not. That is not the ceremony is staying there. That energy. For me, that's very right to do.
Yeah, yeah, to restore, yeah, to leave everything as we found it, unless there's something that we're making that's an offering to the place. I'm just thinking sometimes I've made an offering also in the form of a nature mandala. So,
Yeah,
and we were talking last month about making these kind of offerings that are, you know, the birds or the acts of beauty that are created, that are just made out of what are found materials in the place. So we're not bringing anything foreign or different there, but making something that is, yeah, hopefully, yeah. So yeah, I'm just thinking of other outdoor hand fastings. I'm just thinking of one of the very first ones that I did, actually, that was in a walled garden at a horse sanctuary where the bride to be had worked with these horses. You know, that some of them had been quite ill treated, and she had worked in that place, and her, although she wasn't at all pagan, you know, her relationship with the place was very important, and that relationship and that history kind of felt very, very much present in the ceremony.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's universal, this connection with places.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with pagan or druid. It's
No.
really,
Yeah. And anything can be a representative of the spirit of place. Like sometimes it might be a particular flower that captures our attention, or sometimes it might be the buzzing of the insects, sometimes it might be the buzzard flying overhead, or a little blackbird that stops and sings, or a lady passing by and making a comment like Adrian said, or the rustling of the leaves of the trees. It can be felt in the lapping of the waves on the shore. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, we've got Ingeborg's asking, do you always have the ceremonies outdoors? How about
Yeah, almost every time.
mm,
The most of them are outdoors. Sometimes in the garden or in a garden house with glass. Yes.
and Ingeborg, I too, almost all of the weddings and other similar ceremonies that I do are outdoors, although I do a lot of indoor ceremonies as well, because I do a lot of funerals, and those are indoors. But when I do those, I greet the spirit of place in the outdoors where that chapel is, you know, and kind of feel like I'm making that kind of connection before I go in, and I'm conscious of that, yeah, connection extending beyond the walls of the building. And yeah, I was just thinking of one that I did recently where we had a moment's silence during the ceremony, and it was really filled with bird song, you know, that was reaching within the chapel. And yeah, it's important to say, I guess, that yeah, we can connect with the spirit of place even when we are indoors. We've got another question from Nico. Do you always choose the places of ceremony, or do the couple's clients also choose places in nature? For me, Nico, it's always the couples and clients that choose the place, and I go to the places where I'm called. For you, Desi, it's different.
Yes, some couples ask me for a place in nature. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because you do more of these sort of almost what we might call an elopement kind of
Yes,
ceremony, where people want to go and have a very private Ceremonies.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's mostly so private that they don't take pictures or something. It's pure the feeling,
yeah,
connection with each other, their heart connection,
yeah,
and nothing else matters than that.
yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of being able to connect with nature indoors, Desi, you are going to lead us in a nature connection meditation to complete our
Yeah.
session this evening. Is now a good time to do that?
For me, it's fine, but I am wondering about my sound. If it's possible for people to meditate if there is such echo.
Okay, I am just wondering if I knew how to. Well, let's just do our best because some people have said that the sound was okay. So, yeah.
Okay, then we will do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a meditation for
For
you
you.
to reconnect with nature wherever you are, and I will want to invite you all to relax in a chair where you are sitting or on the couch. Close your eyes if you want. Feel your shoulders relaxing. Feel your face relaxing. And go with your attention to your feet. Feel them on the ground. Imagine there are roots coming out of your feet, going into the earth. You are firmly grounded with the earth. And then imagine you are walking on a path between meadows full of flowers and grasses. It's a lovely sunny day. You feel the sun on your face. You heard the birds sing, and you are walking and walking. And then you are entering the edge of a forest. You are entering into the forest. You are walking and feeling the earth beneath you. You are smelling that lovely forest smell, air. You hear the birds singing. The sun is coming through the leaves of the trees. You feel the wind, and you are walking and walking. And then you see a firm, steady oak tree. And you are walking towards the oak tree. And if you want, you can say hi to the tree. And then you are gonna sit nearby and look around you in the forest. All these shades of green, all these colors, all the shades of brown. And feel the energy of nature around you, this life force. And then I want to invite you to take a few deep breaths in and out. And with every breath you take inside, the energy of the forest, of nature, is coming inside of you. With every breath inside, all the shades of green coming inside of you, filling your body from your head to your shoulders, your arms, your upper body filled with energy of nature, your lower body, your legs and your feet. Your whole body is filling up with the energy of the forest. This life force is inside of you. And you can imagine that the forest is inside of you. This wind, the sun, the trees, the ground, everything is inside of you. And you can imagine that you are one with nature. You are connected. Wherever you are connected. This life force is inside of you. Take a few moments to feel this energy moving, flowing through your body. And maybe you feel this energy tingling in your hands, your feet, your body, maybe in your head. And if you don't, it's also totally fine. And with this energy into your body, this connection with Mother Earth, you are standing up. And if you want, you can say bye to the tree. And you walk the same road to the edge of the forest. You walk very relaxed and slowly, totally connected with nature, feeling one with nature. And then you are entering the meadows, seeing the path, and you're walking and walking back. And then you are back in your house, in the here and now, on your chair or couch. If you want, you can move with your fingers and feet and slowly open your eyes. And here we are on this evening, together with everybody on Facebook.
Oh, thank you, Desiree. That was really beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pleasure to do.
Yeah.
You all, thank you very much to meditate with me.
Great. I did actually, Juliet. I think it was Nico that said to turn my volume down, which has obviously helped with the echo. So I know to do that in the future. Yeah.
Thank you, Nico.
I'm glad we sorted it in the end, at least for the meditation. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. And yeah, it was very lovely to be able to connect with you all in the meadow and the forest, and yeah, just to feel a little bit of a sense of that, here in Brighton, in the heart of the city.
Yes.
So yes, I think next month I'm going to be talking with Dave, Dave the Bard, Dave and Kerry. Dave and Kerry have been doing seasonal celebrations at the Long Man of Wilmington, just down the road from me in Sussex, for the last 20 years. So I'm quite excited to talk to them about
Yes.
what it's like to be conducting with seasonal celebrations and working with that particular place for all that time. We've got lots of lovely messages coming in. So yes, thank you back to all of you. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, I wish you all bright blessings on your summertime, and lots of beautiful moments of nature connection and connection with the spirit of place. And perhaps you'll be encouraged to just do that, make offerings or offer your kind attention, or just speak to the spirit that's of place, in the places that you love, if you haven't before, and I'm sure that they will answer you.
Beautiful.
Okay, so yes, bright blessings to all of you, and yeah, see you again soon. Thank you, Desi.
You're welcome. Thank you, River. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye for now.